Okay, hello, hello. We have Activating Hope series today with Hillary Brumley and Holistic Harmonics. And we are doing week one of four of her four foundations. So I'm Jen Rivera, and I'll turn it over to Hillary. This is recorded. All righty.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
And hi, anybody who's watching the recording. Welcome. And I'm glad that we're here together to share the four foundations. I've talked to Jen quite a bit about it, and it's something that I've been living by using the tools that fit into these different four foundation categories for quite a while. I started a chronic illness to wellness journey back in 2008. And in 2012, I discovered sound healing. And I already had um, started integrating spirituality and mindfulness and diet and things like that. And then sound healing came in. And then all of a sudden, in about 4 years ago, I had a download that the way of being that I was living that was helping me so much was actually foundational, and that anybody could follow this and help to improve their quality of life, to attune, align, and amplify their authenticity so that they move through the world more um, presently, so that they have clarity, they can sleep better, um, just feeling at peace, at peace. And you can heal yourself naturally this way. And Jen and I were talking about how there's not really all that much healing to do at this point. Like we've moved through that, and now we're in a state of being that version, right? And we're always going to go through cycles, and layers are going to come up, and we're going to be bombarded by uh, outside interference. And those things can cause static or dis-ease. And so we have the ability to bring ourselves back into balance. And I'm going to be sharing the way that I go about this. It's called the Four Foundations of Holistic Health. And it's food, feelings, frequency, and fun. And by doing something that fits into one of those categories in your mind, because they're all kind of interchangeable, but in your mind, doing at least one thing every day from at least one of those categories, you'll notice a difference, I'm sure, in your presence and your intuition and the way that you operate in this world and in this body. And so today we're going to talk about feelings. And a
Awesome.
lot of people hear, yeah, a lot of people, they hear um, you have to feel it to heal it, or you have to feel your feelings, or if you don't feel it, it's going to get stuck in your body and you're going to get sick. And while all of that has a grain of truth, really what it's about is integration. Like we hear about our shadow and we need to heal our shadow, and feelings are a big part of that. Our emotions are energy. And so when we experience that energy, it can become static, it can become stuck. And when that happens, we do experience imbalance and disease. So it's important to think about what feelings mean to you. What does that mean? What does it mean for
Yeah.
you to feel your feelings?
The first
You
thing that
know?
comes up for
And,
me
yeah,
is um, never getting satisfaction when I would express my feelings when I was younger or even within, relationships. That's the very first thing that came up was
right.
um my feelings being wrong or not important.
hmm hmm And we experience that a lot. We do that to ourselves, even. And we are conditioned and programmed to feel that way.
Mhm.
And just hearing you say that, my throat started tightening. And
Mm,
I feel like a constriction here. And it
mm.
really does affect our energy centers in our hearts, and then our heart protector starts like building up that wall and that shell. And our throat starts to constrict. And then we have an issue with even saying anything and talking about our feelings. And I find that when I'm working on expressing my feelings, that it's important for me to recognize what they are, to name them, to acknowledge them, to allow them, say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, identify it, even if I don't have a specific name for it, just to let it be, to allow it, to accept that it's part of who I am, to not judge it, right? We can use discernment here without judgment. And we can say, okay, is this something I prefer? We can even ask ourselves, is this feeling coming from a negative belief about ourselves or about the world? Um, what do we really believe? You can go really deep with feelings. And I feel that, I feel that, yeah, that identification and then the allowance, because feelings and emotions are like the ocean, ocean, right? So we're going to experience waves, and there is an undertow. If we don't address, we can get pulled under, whether we realize it or not. Like if we're sad, for example, we'll probably feel it and recognize it, and depression can be a part of our lives. um, or if we're not acknowledging something that can happen, we get pulled under. And sometimes, if we just try to remain ignorant, like we try to say ignorance is bliss, but it's really not, because that's when we become disconnected and the clarity goes away
Mhm.
and the intuition goes away.
Mhm.
And knowing that what's next for you and what's exciting for you goes away because there's too much interference from that ignorance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what I wanted to share today is a bit about feelings and how important they are, and just a couple of tools that we can use. Um, one's a little more in depth, and it's something that we can do, um, together with other people before we go to bed, when we wake up, at any time we maybe start to feel the static. And some of you may have heard of this. This is, I'm sure you've heard of it, Jen. It's the mind, body, or heart and brain coherence,
Mhm.
right? And so when we're coherent, that means that our systems are unified and we have the ability to regulate our nervous system. We have the ability to gain clarity, to gain balance, to gain a sense of peace. Um, yeah, a sense of bliss. You do it long enough, and your heart is going to expand and your mind is going to open. And so the first one is just cleansing breath, and then the second one is going to be mind and body coherence. Okay, so I just want to practice that if you're down for that, Jen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So the first one is just a cleansing breath, and I invite you to put your feet flat on the floor if you can, or if you're sitting, just really connect your sit bone, your tailbone, your sitting bones with whatever you're sitting on, the surface, and just really feel that connection, and allow yourself to feel your body kind of sinking down and relaxing. Your shoulders are dropping. Your head is kind of floating on your wonderful neck, not too far forward, not too far back. You're there in the center. Then we're going to have a cleansing breath. We're going to allow our diaphragms to expand outwards. Many people call this the baby breath or the baby Buddha belly breath, which is really allowing your diaphragm to expand as you breathe in through your nose. And so we're just going to do that. And we're going to hold it at the top and then release through the mouth, allowing all the energy to go down through your feet or through your sit bones. And again, through your nose, allowing that diaphragm to expand, holding at the top, and then out. And you can make a sound here with your sounding out. I feel sort of a spinning sensation in my situation of cleansing breath. We're going to do that a few more times. Just do it at your own pace, breathing in through your nose, holding at the top, letting it out with a nice exhale through the mouth, and holding it at the bottom before you inhale again. We're just going to take a moment. Let's do two more of those. And just notice sensations in your body, anything you may be thinking or feeling. Just kind of notice and observe. When we're in this state, we're allowed at this point to be tuned into ourselves, and we're more capable of feeling our feelings and then being able to discern what we prefer, what we don't prefer, if it's a false belief or not, and where it might have come from, depending on how much you want to put into it. You can journal, you can have a conversation with a loved one, a spirit guide, um, someone who may have passed, the elementals. I like to do that. Just talk to the trees and the flowers and the water. I talk to the river a lot, and the ocean when I get to go. Yeah. So it's just a good way to begin the process of feeling your feelings because you are now at like a 0 point state, right? And you may be spinning more readily. And I recommend that you do that as many times as you can to really feel that dropping in and expanding up. And you can even imagine sinking down into the earth and feeling the mother's embrace, staying there for a little while. And then you might start to feel the rise and then allow your spirit and soul to rise up into the heavens and be greeted and embraced by the Father, and then back down. And then you're in your center. I find that's very helpful. So that's the first thing. And that you can kind of do anywhere. Cleansing breath in the middle of anything, even
Mhm.
just one, can help so much to just release a little bit and allow your feelings to pass through rather than get stuck. Like so many of us get stuck in flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. And this is a really simple, good way to just get out of that quickly with the intention of doing so, right? Um, yeah. So how did that feel?
It felt really good, and I realized I have learned to use that off and on, over the last few years in situations where I would have been more reactionary.
Hmm.
And so the pause definitely helps um, to be less reactionary, a little more responsive in the ways you like to be, like in stressful situations. So I feel like that pause helps you really engage with your feelings, but also not be out of control or
Hmm.
feel like the energy gets away from me, kind of a thing.
Hmm. Hmm. For sure. And it is that responsiveness. If you think about how you feel and what your emotions are when you are more responsive and less reactive, I find a positive upliftment, a confidence, and again, the ability to be clear about what I do want and then be able to respond. Yeah. Um, because I used to suffer very, very badly with chronic post traumatic stress disorder. Not everything that goes along with that. Um, I still startle easily and things like that. And I have to, use these tools. It's become less and less of a daily burden to live with, the reactionary responses of trauma, um, because of using these tools. And it's a daily practice. I mean, that's what the four foundations are about. This is the feelings category.
Mhm.
And these are the things I do to get in touch with my feelings. Another thing I might do is journal. That really helps me to just not try to think about what I'm going to write. Just sit down and write whatever for the day. I do that better than with a prompt for some reason. Like it's just a free flowing thing. When I have a prompt, I get in my head too much. But when it's just, I'm going to just sit down and write, I have an easier time. That's just me. Um, so don't think that you have to have something to write about to just sit down and write. And that helps me to process my feelings.
Mhm.
Um, we're almost up at the half an hour point, and I really kind of wanted to keep it to that.
Mhm.
So I wanted to share, the mind body, heart brain coherence exercise.
Okay.
Um, we have, if you've never heard of it, the Heart Math, institution, I think it's called Heart Math Institute.
Mhm.
Um, they do lots of these coherence activities that you can do with people online, worldwide meditations, and just get together with people almost at any time. You can find a group that's doing this together. And of course, it expands exponentially when we're doing it together in a group, right? So this is a really good way to, again, attune, align, and amplify your authenticity and be able to feel your feelings and know what's real and true for you, right? And that is, it's an exercise whereby we're going to use those deep belly breaths, and we're going to connect and drop into our heart center. We'll be taking a clearing breath and ground. If you know what that means, that's to really sink down into the earth and allow yourself to be very present. And then we're going to move into our heart space. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to think of something that makes you really happy or something that you're really, really grateful for. That's my favorite. Like something that brings me joy and gratitude. That's what helps me to get into my heart space. Some people, it works better if they have a visualization, like they're going to walk through that path, or that doorway or that staircase or that, whatever their entryway to the heart is. Um, so some people like to have that visualization, anything that helps you connect with your heart. I like to put my hand on my chest. Some people like to do that. I will, when I'm doing my clearing breath, my cleansing breath in the beginning, I will use the vowel sound. Ah,
Ugh.
yeah. Ah, it's like, oh, that's so sweet.
Oh.
And that sound helps me again to connect to that space. And I'll do that with my cleansing breath. And then we're going to think of something that we're grateful for. And then we're just going to breathe. And we're just going to breathe and be grateful. And just breathe and be grateful. And some people like to count to really get the mind activated and not thinking about anything else except for the breath. So some people like to do what's called a box breath technique, which is you count to four on the inhale, hold it for four, exhale for four, hold it for four, and repeat. And that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to first tune into something I'm really grateful for, and then as I'm breathing, I'm going to be using the box breath. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Ready?
Okay, okay. First, we're going to do a nice cleansing breath, and then we're going to drop in. So,
The hold at the top
Mm-hmm.
and the bottom
Mm-hmm.
is something I need to work on. The magic's
Mm-hmm.
kind of in those two spaces, I think.
Yeah, it's the pause, right? We were just talking about the pause, and that is a very like very valuable tool, whether you're
Yep.
counting or not,
Yeah, I'm
to
gonna have
stop.
fun with that. Yeah. Because
Hmm.
I do long, deep breaths, but I don't do the pauses. And I found that very opening and very like settling.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
know you've
definitely value
told
that.
me that before, and I know that, but it's not something I've made a practice. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
And
yeah,
I don't know, I start smiling almost instantly, but that's because,
yeah,
I'm thinking about my granddaughter and my daughter and my son and, my family. And I'm just so, so, so grateful for them,
yes.
you know.
All the good
Um,
things. Yeah.
yeah, all the good things. And it makes me smile. And so I find the smile. And oh, one more thing.
Hmm.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. And that sounds like you did. And that's something that like I feel lighter. I feel tingles in, my neck and my shoulders and my thighs and my toes, and I love that feeling. Um, truth bumps. And the last thing I want to share about feelings is we really have the ability to turn ourselves around by turning our frown into a smile from a frown. And I actually do a teaching, and it's laughter yoga and like the joy yoga, I guess
Hmm.
you could call it. And there are quite a few techniques, but one of my favorites is the number 10 smile. Okay, so we're going to do this. It'll be fun to have it recorded and look back at it. I think I will really enjoy it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, are you ready? So, what we do is we start with our normal, like flat affect face, like this. I'm just going to demonstrate and then we'll do it together, okay? Okay.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to turn it up a little bit more, little bit more, and then a little bit more until like my cheeks, I can really feel it in my cheeks. And I just look at it, I just like, and just smile. And you can just look at yourself or not. And just feeling when those muscles engage, it's engaging our nervous system. And we're like, oh, I remember this feeling. And it really is kind of like one of those fake it till you make it things. You can fake it. You don't have to be feeling happy, like joyous, like I am now, because we just did the different exercises. You can be feeling like crap and just smile, and you don't have to look at yourself in the mirror. I find once you're more practiced at it, if you look at yourself in the mirror, it happens faster because you recognize it, right? It's like when we look into each other's eyes. And an interesting fact about our teeth and our mouths is that it's one of the most vulnerable places on our body. And so when we smile, we might have a tendency to be like holding back. And when we practice the number 10 smile, I want you to smile with teeth. Do it by yourself. Do it in front of a mirror. Do it as you're eye gazing with a friend or family member, and you will crack up and you will just feel better. You will just feel better. And it allows a softness because we are being vulnerable with ourselves and with the next person and saying it's okay to be vulnerable and that we can smile and it's okay to feel all of our feelings and that we have the ability to surf them, to allow ourselves to not get sucked down, to get wet, but not get sucked down, and then to feel the exhilaration of being able to ride the wave,
Hmm.
right? So that's what I have
Okay.
for today.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna do our what is it? 10-watt smile? 1,000-watt smile?
Oh yeah, it's
Oh,
the number 10, number
the
10
number 10
smile. Are you
smile.
ready?
And then
Okay,
I'll
so we're going to
stop the
start
recording
flat and
the
then we're
week
just
so
going to
everyone
kind
can
of
stop.
go. Yeah. And oh, next week we're going to talk about food. Food.
Okay.
And so think about what that means for you. If you're watching this before then, um, what does food mean? Okay, here we go. All
Okay.
right. All right, flat affect.
I think I can go anywhere.
Right? I know. It's like once you feel that.
Nice. Lovely.
Yeah, it's
Thank
really
you
fun.
so much. I look forward
You're
to
welcome.
next week. And yeah, this will be
Thank
lovely
you.
to have some tools. They feel really good. I'm going to practice them all week. And I'll be able to kind of say how that worked for me
Yeah,
and
good.
working on my allowing that breathing exercise, I think
Hmm.
that was really
Yeah,
nice. So, okay.
yeah.
Thank
Yep.
you very
And
much, and we'll
you're
see you next
welcome.
week.
Yep.